Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Hall. We're going to be doing news you can use to fight fascism. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. Stu Peters. Who is Stu Peters? I'm glad. Well, he does crazy things. This is from Right Wing Watch on Twitter. Radical right-wing broadcaster Stu Peters says that only Christian prayer, not just any prayer, everyone, but Christian prayer, can protect people from COVID-19 because the vaccines were created by the demonically inspired spawns of Satan. Look at these people. They are not even humans. And of course, his guest right there is Dr. Stella Emmanuel. Before we get to the video, because of course we have video of this, just want to go over, and the link to the story is in the description below, about who Stu Peters is. Now, listen, we've covered wannabe fascist, full-blown fascist, right-wing lunatics. And what's the common thread? They're losers. They're losers with big mouths, and Stu Peters is no different. Stu Peters has gone from rapping and bounty hunting to become one of the right's main COVID conspiracy theorists. And he has his own trouble with the law. I know you might be surprised that the man has anger issues, maybe some issues with substance abuse and with domestic violence too. Peters' rise reflects the tumultuous environment of digital right-wing media, where a previously little-known bounty hunter can emerge out of practically nowhere to become a power player. Along the way, Peters has had plenty of his own run-ins with the law. Around 1 a.m., and on February 19th, Peters' wife called the police in Red Wing, Minnesota, claiming Peters was in a drunken rage after getting home from his bowling league. In an angry scramble to find his phone, according to an account from Peters' wife recorded in a police report, he had allegedly started to berate her, had thrown household items, including boots and pillows, at her. Yes, he got the angers because he drank too much and he was angry about bowling. This wasn't Peters' first encounter with the police. He was convicted of theft as a teenager for stealing stereo equipment from a Radio Shack where he worked. He was arrested in Florida in 2006 for falsely impersonating an officer, unlawful use of a blue light, and robbery of less than $300 while using a weapon. Those charges were later dropped. All right, I promised you a video of lunacy this morning, and I'm going to deliver that video right now. Check it.
The reason why this prayer is so effective is because God gives us that tool. He gives us the tool to destroy the enemy. God won already. He's going to destroy the enemy. You have to believe in him. Accept Jesus Christ as your Savior. He will not allow anything bad to happen to you. And if you look at who was responsible for delivering this death serum, it is the demonically inspired spawns of Satan. Look at these people. They are not even humans.
They're not even humans. It is the devil.
Wow. So I've mentioned this before, but when you see these lunatics on camera with each other, they are doing improv. It's not funny, but it is the same principle of improv comedy, where one person says something crazy and the other person, like the scientists are spawns of Satan, and the other person yes ands them, and they say yes they are of the devil, and then says something crazier, and it's this positive feedback loop of insanity. Gonna check out the chat and see how everyone's doing this morning. What up, KCA Randy? And hey, we have the return of Simply Secular Dave. Good morning, Dave. I hear that you have the internet back on. I'm glad to have you back. The death serum is strong, KCA Randy. That is correct. And God will defeat the enemy. Any minute now, indeed. Who watches this crap? I'm glad that you asked, John Christian. It seems that, I'm going to guess, a lot of Fox News folks, a lot of COVID deniers, of course, evangelical Christians, poorly educated folks, and, on right-wing media, right? They have made their own echo chamber of science denial, of glory be to Jeebus, and that's how they have their fan base. Yeah, it's ridiculous and it's scary. It's scary and ridiculous at the same time. And they are. You're right, Tesla Ranger. QAnon cultists, right? That's what they are. QAnon cultists, death cults. Wow. And what's up, Tobin Templeman? Glad to see that you're in the chat this morning. All right, so what are we doing here? And Blazing Wizard Pope. Oh, good morning, Blazing. All right, let's do another. You want to do something else? You want to do? All right. Here in the States, there's going to be a second booster. The second booster is open for business, everyone. Are those the right words? No, that's not the right panel. What an expert says you should consider before getting a second COVID-19 booster. Link in the description below. All right, so who's eligible for boosters, or who should get boosters according to this medical professional here? Not me, of course, but the person in the article reporting about, COVID-19 second booster. People over 50 who over 50 and over who received 3 prior doses of either Pfizer or Moderna, and who are at least 4 months out from their last vaccine dose are eligible for another mRNA booster, either Pfizer or Moderna. And now this is what I found interesting. All adults, regardless of age, who received an initial J&J vaccine and then a booster at least 4 months ago are now able to receive a second booster with an mRNA vaccine, again with either Pfizer or Moderna. So if you're over 50 and you've had the Pfizer Moderna, go get yourself another booster. I mean, that's your choice. That's what I'm doing. You might be surprised I'm over 50. And I'm going to go get myself a second booster shot. But if you've gotten the J&J shot initially, then you are eligible to get the second booster. So that's pretty cool, right? There's ample data to show how important the initial booster is, especially against Omicron subvariants, including the now dominant BA2 strain. During a time when BA1 was the main variant, the effectiveness of the 2 doses of the vaccine against severe disease dropped to 79%, according to CDC study. The effectiveness of 3 doses remained high at 94%. Good news, right? That's pretty good news. But we've covered this like a million times on the show. All of you are science literate. You know what the deal is. And I would imagine that at least 99.9% who are watching this, either now or later, have already been vaccinated. Because it's a science literate show we're doing here, everyone. If Christians want the world to be populated by more Christians, why aren't they pro-vax and pro-abortion for all non-Christians? Who is writing their agenda and manifesto? Simply Secular Dave, you raise so many interesting questions. I think that, I don't know. As soon as you start trying to figure out insanity, it starts warping your brain. I think you start getting a brain cramp. It's like when do you remember driving a manual? Does anyone drive a manual? It's like trying to shift gears and you're not clutching right and you're grinding the gears. That's what happens to my brain. I don't know if it's about you when you try to get into the heads of anti-vaxxers and religious fundamentalists. It actually hurts my brain sometimes. It almost hurts my brain. It does hurt my brain. Okay, yeah, that's right. Simply Secular Dave. There you are using logic again. All right, so hey, everyone, I'm going to drop a cat video. This is the halftime tummy rub show. Why not do the halftime tummy rub show now? We've been doing this show for about 10 minutes or so. No ads on this show, right? I don't want to subject you to the corporate propaganda. And so check out, please like the video. And hey, you know what? If you can't drop a couple of shekels in, be a supporter, YouTube member, then, tell someone about this show, share the video, do something, do what you can. That's what I'm saying. Let's do something feline.
Just in case there's anything going on with your parents right now and you need new ones, these are your parents now. They're proud of you.
I have never seen such pleased cats as those two felines right there. They just seem so happy. Last story that we're covering this morning. This is from the Friendly Atheist, him at Meta. Most Americans say religious objections to COVID vaccines are insincere. The majority of Americans have working BS detectors, but they're very hesitant to demand consequences for vaccine deniers. I don't say that I understand my fellow citizens here in the United States of America. They're difficult nuts to crack, everyone. It seems that they hold two positions. They know that religious exemptions are basically bullshit, a vast majority of them. But yet, on the other hand, they don't think employers or the government should punish those people. Most Americans believe that people who cite religious objections to getting a COVID vaccine are full of shit. That's one of the major takeaways from the new Pew Research Center survey out today. 67% of U.S. adults believe people who cite their faith as a reason to avoid a COVID-19 vaccine are just using religion as an excuse. What's troubling, however, is that 65% of American adults believe that those who cite a religious exemption to getting vaccinated should be allowed to keep their jobs, even if their employers have a vaccine mandate. Can someone help me? Can someone help me with that? Can someone help me make sense of that? That someone's lying and just giving you a line of BS, but yet there should be no repercussions for it. It's almost as if, and yeah, I'm going to go back to Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. It's almost as if everyone's saying at the Oscars at the time that, oh, we know that Will Smith shouldn't be hitting Chris Rock, but 5 minutes later, they're standing up applauding Will Smith for getting an Oscar. Is that our species? Is that who we are? I think that is who we are. Let's look at some infographics. 2/3 of U.S. adults doubt sincerity of religious objections to COVID-19 vaccine mandates, but far fewer say objectors should lose their job. So here we go. We'll start up here at the top. 67%. Most people with religious objections are just using religion as an excuse to avoid the vaccine. 67% of Americans realize that is true, because I think that's true. Don't you think that's true? That most people who say that they're religiously against the vaccine, they're just using that as an excuse. While 31% say that most people with religious objections sincerely believe getting a COVID-19 vaccine is against their religion. So that's 31%. Now here's the flip around. Practically different, like 180-degree difference right here. So 32% agree with this statement. Employers with vaccine requirements should require employees who have religious exemptions to get the vaccine, just like other employees, if they want to keep their job. All right. So that it seems that if you have a mandate, if you're working in a hospital, working with people, if you're a public servant, then why shouldn't employers force you to get the vaccine? Because you're actually supposed to be there to protect and to serve, one way or the other. Why should they fire you if you decide not to do your job properly by not getting the vaccine? 65% agree with the statement. Employers should allow employees who have religious exemptions to keep their jobs even if they decline to get the vaccine. 65% of Americans believe that. I would just love to do a sit down, do some street epistemology with those folks, and just ask them to square that circle. Just how do they work that logic or non-logic? I'm going to check out the chat and see if anyone has any concepts about this. What's up, Dee Parks? Good to see you. All right, you want to do the next infographic? Let's do the next infographic. Even among Americans who say religious exemptions to COVID-19 vaccine mandates are just an excuse, most objectors should keep their jobs. So, our So this is the percentage of U.S. adults who say people with religious objections are just using religion as an excuse to avoid the vaccine. 29% believe that objectors should lose their jobs if they are vaccine mandates. Yeah, that's me. I'm in that 29% right there. If you know, it's obvious that a vast majority of vaccine objectors who cite religion are just faking it. They, and then there's like 37% think that objectors should keep their jobs. I really want to sit down with the 37% and ask them about that. And amongst those who sincerely believe getting a COVID-19 vaccine is against their religion, here you have it. You have the split up of the percentage. They should lose their jobs if there are vaccine mandates. 3%. Those are hardcore people, and I like those people right there. Those people who honestly believe that most folks who are religious and are refusing the vaccine, 3% believe that they should lose their jobs. Let's see, last panel. The Pew researchers also broke down the results by subgroups, and I will admit I was shocked to find even 52% of white evangelicals and 55% of Republicans, two groups with large overlap that have fought vaccine mandates, agreed that religious objections were not usually sincere. Read that again, Andy, because I am intrigued by that. 52% of white evangelicals and 55% of religious Republicans agree that religious objections are bullshit. Wow. Even they know members of their tribes are just using faith as an excuse. And yet most white evangelical and Republican leaders have done the bare minimum to encourage their followers to get vaccinated. This is true. We've talked about this before, that many ministers, evangelical ministers, are afraid of losing their jobs if they tell their congregants, if they tell their people that they should get vaccinated. You know, there have been ministers who have lost their jobs and have gotten threats because they've decided to speak out for the vaccine. Check out the chat one more time before closing up the shop. This is interesting. Unvaccinated patients should only go to unvaccinated physicians. I like your theory, Bad Art. I like that. I like it a lot. Okay, so everyone, we're doing the after party after show at 9:30 on the other channel. I believe the proper link is in the description below. I do want to make a channel announcement. Man, I always hate it when people on YouTube talk about their channel because I feel it's kind of wankerish. But look, work has gotten a lot busier for me lately. And so this is not me saying goodbye. This is me saying I got to cut down. So instead of having this show run about 25 minutes every day, I'm going to cut it down because let's face it, most people only watch YouTube videos for 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So I'm going to cut it down. I don't think I'm going to cut it down to that much, but it's definitely going to run maximum 15 minutes. So the show on Monday is going to go from like 9 a.m. Max to 9:15. And then we'll probably do the after party after show immediately afterwards from like 9:15 for the full half hour because I like the halftime. I like the after party after show. And why am I doing this? Is because I'm not writing. I am not writing enough. And that's where I get my bread and my butter, to tell you the truth, in terms of artistic enjoyment and in terms of actual money. I get a lot more because, you know, as many of you have followed my adventures on Pathos Non-Religious and on Only Sky, you know, I've had millions of people read my material and I've gotten a few shekels out of it too. And I just haven't been producing enough material. So I'm going to be refocusing on that. So shorter show in the future. I'm also dropping shorts, and many of you have seen the shorts. They're fun little 17-second, half minute kind of shorts. So I'm dropping those too on the regular. But I just wanted to let you all know that about how I'm trying to make or muddle through my life in terms of time management. All right. I think that's good. Are we good? I'll see you at 9:30, everyone. If not, I'll see you on Monday. Take care. And I'm going to drop a cat video and a thank you video too, right now.
Do you have a cat and a door? Now you can have both. Get the kitty corner door. Lift, twist, and lock. By the way, my cousin made me install this.
Yeah,